trick that was played on us is that we are tempted to forget that we're even existing in the first place. That's the whole trick. I'll just be going along driving and then all of a sudden it's like the reality all of a sudden comes back, or it comes back in, and then I remember that I'm still here. Because that's what it's like. It tempts you to go into the invisible mind land, which is here in your present reality as well, but it's invisible. So you as the conscious focus, just gone. You don't even know you exist. You don't know you're here. And that's what all this is. See how everybody's just doing the same exact... They're just walking. Like nobody's doing anything whatsoever. They don't know they exist. None of them. And I'm not saying it's just the most amazing thing in the world to know that you exist. Because who knows? Maybe it's better to be alive and completely asleep, 10 layers deep in your dream. I don't know. I don't know if it's any better to be awake. And of course, to be awake in this particular dream state doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. It just means that you're not sleepwalking within your current present reality. But if you give it some time, when you can remember, because I know we doze off, just watch yourself during the day. And I'm talking even to those of you who are very aware and very knowledgeable of the present moment and how impossible to grasp it is, and how easy it is for us to slip off into thinking, projecting, all these things. Buddha himself still doesn't know. He still doesn't... There's not an arrival point. And this is the whole point. That is the point, is that there isn't an arrival point. There is not, never has been, a solution or a final resolution or an explanation. Nothing. There's nothing like that. Yes, we can pontificate and make theories. That's still going into mind, though. That has nothing to do... Just go pick up a leaf and examine it for 5 minutes. I don't know what people would do if enough people were able to actually be here in this moment. I don't know, what do you do with that? I have no idea. I know the normal human thing is to look like you're accomplishing some goal. You know, I'm moving in a line, so it looks to the passers-by that I'm, you know, achieving something here. But don't know what that would look like. What do you think that would look like? What would that look like if you just what do you do with it? If you just sit and watch people for 10 minutes, you'll start being amazed by it, because even these people are appearing on your local bubble scene. They're just appearing and then they're disappearing. They come in and they go. They come in and they go. Come in and they go. And they're all directly relative to your position. So if you're moving, then they're also moving relative to you because of your movements, and vice versa. But being that every single one of them is asleep, it's like driving, you know, in GTA, but without somebody having programmed, like, you know, random violence and streakers, you know, flying across the road, and, you know, car chases, like people getting down and having like dance-offs in the corner, you know, someone painting trees, whatever. Like, people could be doing anything. They could be doing anything that's not iRobot, but they're not. And it's very amazing. Like, it's amazing to be, I guess it's like you're awake in your own dream. It's literally like that. So if you remember sleep dreaming from this particular realm, you know, you go lay on the bed or whatever and fall asleep, and then go into another level deep, right? And then when you're in there, you know, as a kid, if you're in there and you remember it, you're like, oh, I'm sleeping. This isn't real. Then, you know, if you're anything like me, then you start thinking, what can I do? Then I can't get hurt. You know, it doesn't matter if I die here. It doesn't matter if something rips my head off. I can fly. I can take on mountain lions. I can fight grizzly bears. I can manifest money. Go buy a bunch of Lamborghinis. And if you're actually remembering that while you're in this state, you can do it. And you know, it doesn't always work out right, because dreams are weird and they're very trippy, and like things will just change on you. You'll change on you. But when you come back to this reality, then you're like, oh man, you know, I didn't get the girl, or oh man, I didn't just take that car that was sitting there, because, you know, there's no money in dreams, so you just take what you want. You know, you might regret that you didn't do something. But if you take the turtles on turtles all the way down mindset, and know that this is a higher level of yourself is dreaming this reality, then you know, like, you're in your playground. And to complain in this realm that nobody's doing anything around you would be the same thing as to complain in one level deep in a sleep dream that nobody's doing anything around you. And that's because in your sleep dream, everything is predicated on you. If you're not doing anything, if you're not causing a ruckus or something, then nothing will happen, apparently. And that seems to be what's happening here. If I don't cause a stir in this scene that I'm in, then, you know, the stuff just, and when I say stuff, I mean, and people included, just moves around like clockwork. There's nothing surprising, there's nothing crazy. Just people walking, people driving, people having conversation about nothing. They come in here and they talk about, like, I had two girls come in here, and the entire time they talked about other people and work and plans on where they're going to go in this realm. Plans on what they're going to do in this realm. And it was all incredibly boring because I didn't know any of the people they were talking about. But, you know, it's like watching an animated marionette. But every once in a while, you know, I'll be like, whoa, I'm here, I'm still here. I'm still awake in this dream thing. And sometimes I get all gung-ho about it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna go, like, find somebody and create some stuff here in this realm. But it never happens. Well, it rarely happens. Because, number one, I would have to find someone who's, like, awake. And number two, it's scary to even think about that. I think that's a big part of why things aren't really changing in this dream realm, because we're kind of worried about what will happen if we actually just go and do things, you know? Because the realm will react to things that we do. We just don't know exactly how. Maybe if we go and do something crazy, then the realm will send a police officer and say, hey, no crazy things allowed, and then you're going into a jail inside of your dream. You know, who knows what would happen? I just know that the knowledge or the seeing that I had once you have that first seeing, you never ever lose it, and it is the reality itself. It's like all paradoxes make themselves evident, and then you find that there's not actually a problem with paradoxes, and you're shown that existence is unknowable. It's livable. It's possible to move around, to talk to people, to have conversations. But as far as knowing it, it's impossible. Completely impossible. And you'll find that out if you sit with the life for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes and just watch. Just try and watch. Watch with all of the sensory apparatus you have, even the mind. Watch with everything. Watch all of it. Something that we've kind of receded from is the feeling of the motion. And maybe that's just because this is some simulation or something, and it's not the real existence. You know, maybe it's so many levels deep that we can't feel the motion. But the cosmos, the whole of existence has motion, like swaying motion or flowing. It has a ebb and flow, or seeping, or there's some motion to it. There's tangible motion. And I'm talking about outside. I'm talking about the whole thing, all of it, when you're meditating. I'm not talking about like a leaf is moving, you know, sideways to the branch, and that's motion. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying the whole thing, when you're meditating, when you're being present, has a motion. It has a, you know, it's doing something. It's like crawling. It's seeping. Seeping is like the best word I found to describe when you are being present and watching the flow. Maybe flow, something like that. Like, it's river. You're the river. You're the river of flow. You are that. And we forget what that is, because that flow is what sustains us. It is us. It's our sustaining life energy. And that's the eternal aspect. It's never stopped. It's never, you know, never started, really. It's what it is, and there's nothing to do with it, and it's perfect and flawless, and it's you. But also at the same time, you're not required to stay in witnessing of that flow, in the energetic, sensory, all senses tuned to the present moment, witnessing of that flow or seepage. You're not required to do that. You're absolutely allowed to be in mind all the time and to be constantly projecting, even while you're going down the street, thinking about the next 3 turns ahead instead of being here, you know, like there's a house there, all these cars are right here, right here, right here. That kind of thing is not, you don't have to do that. So if you get tired of projecting and planning your life and constantly doing these things, then just realize that it's for nothing, really. And it's not negative or positive nothing. It's just it's nothing. Nothing is going on. It's a dream swaying, seeping thing that goes endlessly, and it's not good or bad, but it's better to be staying present and feeling that perfection than going into worry or something. But it's endless, it's unknowable. It doesn't matter how hard you try. You can sit, try it. Give yourself some space from your worries, from your projections, and try to grasp what you are. What is your life? What is this thing? Not with your mind, with presence, with being in your present moment. Try to grasp that. Try to really, really, really get it. No words whatsoever, no mind. Let your mind do whatever it wants to do. Sit in your present moment physically, be where you're at, and try to really get what it is. As in feel. Feel what it is. And you try and try and try, and then you're like, mind will say, if you haven't tried this before, it will say, I am a human, and I am here in my car, and I'm driving, and I'm being lazy, and I'm supposed to be working, and instead I'm talking about meditation. That's what mind will say if you haven't ever tried meditation before. But if you've been into it and you've been deep into it, then mind doesn't have to say anything. You ask your being, your inner knowing, seeing, witnessing aspect of yourself. Ask that, what is this? What is life? What am I? How am I? And see if you can get an answer that's not in words. See if just by the witnessing, just by the looking, you can find something there, find something tangible. And you won't. There isn't the finding. That's why that's why people trip out when they're taking some drugs, because it shows them that fundamental truth on some dramatic levels, instead of just examining calmly for 5 minutes while you're taking a break from life to look at life, and just finding, well, with my senses and with all of my attention honed into the present moment, I don't find anything whatsoever outside of my mind conceptualizing about it. You don't. And if energetically the light being part of yourself can accept that and embrace that, because that's actually freedom, then that swaying, seeping, incredibly tiny, nuanced, it's like a kaleidoscope of sensory feelings that is all like moving in harmony. That's what your present moment is. And you don't know how it's moving. You just know that you're at the center of it. You're like the fulcrum of the action. And it's important to notice that. If you don't notice that, then you are sleepwalking with the rest of them. and you don't know it. And you're still sleepwalking all the way up until you find out this knowledge, and then you're me, essentially, or you're whatever, not your non-name person, thing, individual, conscious experiencer, and you will still find that there's nothing to say about it, can't explain it whatsoever. It's essentially perfect and flawless in how it's working together, which is like God mind. And in addition, there's nothing to do. There aren't requirements, there aren't goals, there couldn't be anything to do, there never was. And it's all, the whole thing is dreams on dreams on dreams on dreams. That is the entire life. The whole entire life is dreams on dreams on dreams on dreams on dreams on dreams. And then at the base of it, at least for me, is absolute stillness or no motion whatsoever. And that's me here in this, particular body, in this incarnation. I'm not proposing that this way of feeling out the life is the same for everybody, or that there is some final truth. What I'm saying is that there isn't some final truth, but there is a continuity to the perfection of how everything is amalgamated together in the present moment, and that part stays. As far as what appears on the screen, what people come through, what they do, what they say, that all changes, of course, but the fundamental bedrock, that is your seat, your seat of consciousness, it does never change. And once you get it, once you found it, then you're safe, you're home. Like, you have arrived home. You're not looking for anything anymore. And even if, you say you go looking for something, well, that's not that aspect that's home and safe. That's the aspect that is putting a tendril out, As Muji would say, even that is witnessed. Speaking of Muji, I received an invitation to go to a satsang at 3:30 a.m. tonight and just watch his Muji's satsang, which I would like to do, but that's too early. And I've been a bit lazy as far as work, so gotta do this stuff. But anyway, that's my spiel for the day. Examine yourself. Examine your moment. See what's there. See if you can examine it and feel into it without applying a conceptualization, a mind interloper. See if you can do that. Report below.